Hello gold friends, Jason here, TheChartGuys. Gold's finally done something. Last week we managed to break through this high 1346.743, which changes the way we have to look at gold from now on. And we're moving beyond, I should say potentially moving beyond this wonderful monthly equilibrium that we've had here. And so far, 10 days into the month, we've not seen substantial follow through on this break. So what we need to do now is focus in on this nice little area and try to change the way that we're perceiving the price action, because we're no longer contained by this beautiful EQ. We are in a state of trend loss. And that trend loss is the fact that we have now set a higher high on the monthly EQ, which can trigger an EQ break, but we're waiting for that follow through. So let's take a look at our weekly daily charts, and then we'll get back to our monthly and talk about a couple of potential outcomes that we could have on this chart. So weekly, let's go take a look at that. Here's our high, 1346. We pulled to downside. We consolidated, setting a nice support at 1266, and then we had a big breakout, managed to punch through 1346, and now we are seeing some weakness. This is only one trading day, so 1 day's worth of action. We need to see what develops as this week progresses. But right now, we have not seen immediate strong follow through on the break of 1346. On the daily time frame, here we go. We get a nice couple days of run up. We don't even get a nice bull flag. We just keep hammering. Bulls keep driving. And despite the attempts from the bears to drive the price down, that threshold was crossed. And then we see some weakness. And now we're pulling back a little bit. Today's trading range so far, very, very tight. And that will, of course, develop as the day moves on. On the 4-hour time frame, here's that again in a different view, 1348, pulling back, and now I would hesitate to call this a bear flag, but it is forming up that shape. I don't like this last candle. This would basically have to dump immediately for me to like this as a bear flag. Otherwise, I would just negate it. And the loss of 1325.340 would constitute an execution of a bear flag for me. Otherwise, I'd just be looking for a tight range, trading sideways inside this little channel and wait to see which one of those support or resistance is going to break first. So not a lot happening yet on any of these time frames, and we need to see if the bulls are going to make a decisive move based on the fact that they broke this monthly EQ level and what exactly they're going to do about that. So that's what I'm watching for first. And what I'm expecting to see, let's talk about a couple potential outcomes. First of all, if we come back very, very strong in the next couple of days and absolutely crush this level, and if we're able to break above it, and even if we're able to get into the low 1360s, that will tell me that there's some conviction behind this move and that the bulls are actually going to keep trying to drive this home and hammer this home and really make it something substantial. Right now, we're not seeing that, and we're pulling back from there. So, two potential outcomes. One, we hammer and go strong. We definitively say this monthly EQ is broken. Otherwise, we have to look at this and say, okay, maybe this is not a monthly EQ break. Sure, technically, we broke to a higher high, about 1346.743, but how high did we go? Our high here is 1348.212, so only by $2 on a commodity that's roughly $1,300. So not a very large percent by any means. And for that reason, we need to start looking at that as a zone of resistance and say, despite the fact we broke it, technically, we need to start playing this as a double top and consider the fact that maybe the market is going to act as if we've not broken this monthly EQ. If that is indeed the case, what I think we'll see is the price come down, test this low, and if the market is strong and this is a broken EQ to the upside, we will set a high above the low of our two supports down here, above 1265.178. What that would look like, of course, is setting that higher low and then moving back up. At that point, you get the potential for a smaller EQ, just focusing inside this range, which will give us a little bit of direction. And ultimately, that's what we would love to see for strong upside continuation. And that might bounce around like that and continue like that. Otherwise, if we don't get that higher low, and we set a new low below 1265.178, I would consider this as a double top and look for potential continuation of this monthly EQ. For me, it's all about whether the bulls can get back above 1346 within the next month or two, because this is a monthly chart, and I want to see some strength and conviction. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking for potential double top play, potential for a EQ to form up on the daily, weekly time frame inside this range. And if we lose 1265, I'm going to be looking at that as a sign that this is indeed a double top. So that's it for today. Lots of unknowns and lots of speculation. And we just have to wait and see how this develops. For me, long term, I'm hands off right now. I'm going to wait to see how this monthly, weekly chart plays out a little bit more. And on the daily time frame, we'll have to see what develops on the short term inside this range. We moved up very, very quickly. RSI is still very high at 66, and we need to see what sort of pattern we can get inside this nice little tight daily range. If we get a daily EQ, we all know how we love EQs. That would be nice. We just need some sort of pattern, some sort of idea of what's happening. Right now, just pure speculation. We can say that those monthly levels broke and we're going to move violently to the upside, but ultimately we don't know. And we need to collect data. Right now, we are waiting for that data to make itself known to us, and then we will act on that data. Wait for the trade to come to you, and right now, it's a waiting game for me. Thank you for listening. As always, absolutely love this stuff. I get so pumped after dinner. It's 7 o'clock where I am. I get to come up, look at charts again, see what's developed, and then I get to talk about them to myself into a microphone. It's fantastic. That's it. I'm rambling now. Have a good night.